All right, what is going on, everybody? How is everybody doing today? Welcome back here today to Just Ballin', and ESPN dropped their 2025 NBA rookie rankings, and I just want to basically look at them and see if I agree, if I disagree. The 2024 draft class has been polarizing for so many different reasons, with a lot of variance leading up to the draft. Who's going to go number one? Would it be Sarr? Would it be Risacher? Could there be a surprise pick, and it could be a Stephon Castle or a Reed Shepherd? And a lot of these guys have either maybe disappointed in their rookie years, even though you got to give them a little bit of leeway just because they are rookies and they're so young. Some guys have exceeded expectations. Some guys really haven't played, and some guys have really turned into some of the best rookies in the league. So yeah, we're going to just react to this. I think it's a fun concept. And if you guys maybe want to see something like this, you guys can let me know if you want to see maybe my version of this. So this was written by Jeremy Wu, who I believe is one of their top draft guys after Jonathan Givony. And number one they have is Stephon Castle, who has definitely been one of the best rookies this year. He is the odds-on favorite to win Rookie of the Year right now. He's been one of the best defensive rookies, and that's been, I think, one of his calling cards. That was one of the main reasons why he was going to be a top 5 pick coming out of UConn, even with all the shooting concerns and the potential, like, weird fit he could be on the floor, in a way, just because he wanted to be a point guard. I always thought of him as a wing that could be a really good off-ball player, and if he could ever become, like, a low 30% from three guy, kind of like Herb Jones in a way, when you're just talking about the shot, he could actually be the best player from this class. Now, Stephon Castle, I think I'm fine with him number one either way. I think he has been at least a top 3 rookie this year. I think there could be some debate with one other guy for number one, but Castle, I think, has been a very popular rookie, and it's helped that he's played with Wemby. We're going to see how he's going to perform without Wemby, since Wemby is going to be out for the year. But Stephon Castle, he's shooting like low 40s from the field. He's shooting under 30% from 3. There has been some nights where it's not falling for him, and that's going to be kind of the growing pains you're going to have to go with Stephon Castle. We've seen so many rookie guards in the past struggle with their efficiency, and those guys are all-stars today. So I think Castle being number one is fine. I think he's 1 or 2 in my opinion. It's just weird that Castle, like, who's going to have a well below average true shooting percentage, is going to end up potentially being Rookie of the Year, and that's fine. That's just the way that this draft class is going to come down to. Because in the beginning of the year, we thought it was going to be maybe a run from Jared McCain, and then there was like Dalton Connect moments. There's been Kel'el Ware moments. There's been Zach Edey moments. But I think Stephon Castle, at least, he's able to play make a little bit. He's been a plus defender this year. He's had some really good scoring games, and I think we can reward that. I just would like to know who you guys would have number one. I think there's a debate. I do. I don't think it's clear, unanimous Stephon Castle. I like Risacher a lot, and I do wonder if Risacher is going to be high up here. We'll see. So they have Stephon Castle number one. Okay, Zaccharie Risacher is here number 2, who I'm a big fan of, and he's been great over the last few weeks. He's had some really good scoring performances, and I just think he's, a little bit more ahead defensively than maybe I thought he was going to be. I know, like, one of his calling cards too, coming out of Jailberg, was going to be his help defense, his ability to switch in the half court. And maybe it's just a benefit playing with Dyson Daniels and at times Jalen Johnson this year and DeAndre Hunter and some solid defenders. That's been able to help out Risacher's game defensively, and maybe that's going to be good for his development going forward. And I do think, I don't know, I still like have Sarr probably as a higher ceiling than Risacher, so I can't say that Atlanta made the right decision, but I think you're definitely fine if you're a Hawks fan the way Risacher has been performing this year. Maybe Stephon Castle would be a really nice piece next to Trae Young, but who knows, maybe Dyson Daniels doesn't perform this way if they ended up drafting Stephon Castle. So I honestly think Zaccharie Risacher should be in the conversation for Rookie of the Year more than, like, at least the betting markets give him credit for, just because I think he's been a good enough offensive player. I think you can make an argument he's been better offensively than Stephon Castle this year, and I don't think they're too far off defensively. If I had to say, like, who's been better defensively this year, I'd probably go Stephon Castle, slight edge to him, but I think Risacher is pretty close, and I think Risacher could have a conversation for number one, but I'm fine with Castle number one. I think it just kind of comes down to your preference so far, but it's going to be a big second half. Like, we'll see how Risacher is going to look still with playing with Trae Young. For a Hawks team that's kind of been sliding a little bit as of late. They had a nice win against Miami last night, but then you also have Castle, who is not going to be playing with Wemby. Who knows if, like, De'Aaron Fox goes down, if they, like, try to nurse that surgery, I think he's got to get, and then does he still be fine with not a true big, Bismack Biyombo? I don't know. I think the Rookie of the Year race is still wide open for sure. Next up at number 3, we do have Zach Edey of the Memphis Grizzlies, who was the 9th overall pick out of Purdue. Probably the most polarizing prospect in this class just because he was a senior. Wasn't going to have much of a floor spacing appeal coming out of Purdue. One of the tallest players in this class, was a dominant offensive player at Purdue, and was one of the best college big men we have seen in the college ranks in quite some time. And I think Memphis has utilized them in a very good way. He's kind of been like an enforcer type player for them. He's setting really good screens. He's able to get rebounds inside. He has dealt with some injuries this year, and according to ESPN's previous ranking, he has actually dropped a spot. Or no, he's actually moved up a spot, excuse me. So I think Edey's fine at 3 as well. I don't think Edey should get Rookie of the Year odds. I actually not even sure if he's going to be eligible for that because of the games played. He has missed some time this year, but honestly, he is 2 Grizzlies back-to-back with Jalen Wells at number 4. So you're looking at this and you're very happy if you're a Grizzlies fan. They have Jalen Wells here at number 4, who's been a very plus 3-point shooter. I had a late second-round grade, maybe borderline undrafted grade on Jalen Wells, and hey, I didn't see what they saw, and that is completely on me. And Memphis has done another good job drafting a second-round talent that has turned into a starting-level player with Vince Williams a couple years ago, who gave them some good run time, G.G. Jackson last year, and now Jalen Wells, who may be the most polished out of the 3, because I think Vince Williams excels defensively. I think G.G. Jackson can excel offensively, and I think Jalen Wells is a nice mix of the two and could be a really good connecting piece and complementary piece to the big 3 of Bane, Triple J, and Ja in Memphis for years to come. So I want to give credit to the front office, but I also want to give credit to Taylor Jenkins. I know maybe some Grizzlies fans are not happy with the way he's been coaching this year, maybe the way he's been utilizing John Moran or some of the rotations, but I do think he is getting a lot out of these second round picks and having faith and confidence in these guys and utilizing them in the right scenarios. So yeah, I do want to give Taylor Jenkins for at least the development of the rookies this year in Edey and Wells, because there's some rookies that I think are just getting kind of like their rookie year thrown out the window a little bit just because of poor coaching or poor development in that way. So at number 5, we have Kel'el Ware, who had kind of a couple moments. You have him and Bam running each other in the front court and complementing each other very well, because Kel'el Ware has done a good job spacing the floor. I think the big thing about Ware, why he wasn't a lottery pick and why there was talks for most of the draft cycle he was going to not even be a top 20 pick, was because of the motor at Indiana. And maybe that was a Mike Woodson thing. Just overall, who knows, because Indiana's had their issues this year, but he's one of the most athletic players in this draft. He's a very good shot blocker, solid rebounder, good 3-point shooter. He wasn't ranked in their other rankings, and he comes in at number 5. And I would say if you're just looking at rookie rankings, you can say he's been better than Alex Sarr this year. He's in a better position than Alex Sarr. I think Eric Spoelstra is a lot better of a coach than Brian Keefe for a rookie, and I think it's going to be cool to watch at least Ware over the second half of the year without Jimmy Butler and how he's going to play with Andrew Wiggins. I know Jimmy Butler has been fantastic in Golden State so far, so it'll be cool to see how Ware responds. And he hasn't really had a true point guard. Hero is doing all he can with the ball in his hands as a playmaker, but I'd like to see maybe a true, I don't know, facilitator, initiator type point guard here in Miami. I don't know if Chris Paul wants to play another year, but I'd love to see that. Or I don't know if they could trade for Lonzo Ball in the offseason or somebody like that that can help Kel'el Ware's development on at least the offensive end of the floor. Coming in at number 6, we do have Alex Sarr, who has had an up and down rookie year. He's had some really good stretches. He's still incredibly young, still incredibly raw as a prospect, and he has dealt with some injuries this year as well. And I don't know. I think I'm going to give the Wizards rookies like him, Bub, and Keyshawn the benefit of the doubt this year, just because they were in such a bad environment. And I hope Chris Middleton and Marcus Smart, and Smart has played very hard against the Nets the other night, show a different type of energy in this Wizards locker room. They can be good leaders for Sarr and the young guys. And I think Sarr, I knew it was going to take a little bit of time. I think in the beginning of the year, some of the shot selection was really bad, not knocking down threes, missing easy shots at the rim. And that has been something shown at the start of the year, but I think there has been growth over the course of the season in that department. And he's just going to continue to get better and better. I think at his peak, he's somebody that could be a switchable 4/5, can guard multiple positions. He can space the floor. He can be, I don't know, I don't want to throw out the word elite because maybe I do that too much, and how many guys can really be elite, right? But I do think he could be a very positive rim protector. It could be someone that could be maybe Miles Turner, maybe something like that. I think he got a lot of those Evan Mobley, Jaren Jackson Jr. Pre-draft comps. Maybe he's not going to be as quick and as strong as Miles Turner is, but who knows? Sarr is still, or he was a teenager to start off the year. He's going to put a lot of weight on. He's going to get smarter, stronger, maybe quicker throughout the course of his NBA career. So I think Sarr at 6, if you're looking at just the season, you could say Edey's been a little bit more reliable as a player. I think maybe Kel'el Ware has had his highs be a little bit higher. And then Jalen Wells, way more consistent. You can even say Wells maybe over Edey. Grizzlies fans, you can let me know. But yeah, it's just a weird rookie class. Going into the year, I don't think I'd be shocked to think Sarr midway through was the 6th best rookie. I knew it was going to take a little bit of time. I would be very pleased if I was a Heat fan to find out Kel'el Ware's at number 5 with him potentially being blocked from Bam Adebayo, and now they're playing them both together. Like Jalen Wells, you're like, whoa, we got the steal in the draft, and then you have Edie Risacher and Stephon Castle. So we can go a little bit quicker here. Montes coming here at number 7. Since the trade deadline, he's been more involved. He's been a little bit more efficient, a little bit more aggressive. And I think it helps too with his game that he's playing with some great playmakers and some great initiators. When Wanta was healthy, playing with him, playing with Josh Giddey. Maybe at times they can get a little bit shot heavy, and rightfully so. There's not a lot of guys on this team to create their own shot, but playing with Dosunmu and Kobe White could help out with Buzelis' game. And with Levine off this team, and they added Herter, Collins, and Trey Jones, not a lot of like wing competition. Like, he's kind of fighting wing minutes for, like, against like Patrick Williams when he's healthy, or Dalen Terry or Julian Phillips, who I do like. But I think that's really good for Matas. And I think the big thing about coming out of the G League Ignite for Matas, in my opinion, was how is he going to be creating his own shot? How is he going to be creating separation? Because I think the appeal to him is how tall he is and how he can handle the rock for somebody of his size. And you can really have that as a stretch 4 in this league. But will the shot get a little bit better over time? He's had like that perfect game this year where he didn't miss a single shot. And I think he plays with a high motor. He's got a competitive gene to him. He wants to win. He wants to compete. And I think Chicago did find a good talent there at 11. I'd rather have Montes right now than Cody Williams. Cody Williams did have a good game, or at least a good start from when I was watching it against the Blazers. And then, like, you look at the guys that went around him, I think, like, Devin Carter, Bub Carrington. I don't think Bub would really have a fit in Chicago right now with all of their guards. Maybe Kel'el Ware would be a little bit better in hindsight. But yeah, I think you're fine with Chicago here at Matas. I just hope they continue to develop him, and Billy Donovan, if it's going to be his last year or not, like, hopefully puts a big emphasis on Buzelis' development. Yves Missi at number 8, I think, has been pretty good so far this year for the Pelicans. I think we see this at times. Like I talked about G.G. Jackson last year, right? He was probably never going to play for that team unless all those injuries happened, and they did, and G.G. Jackson took advantage of that opportunity. And I don't think he maybe expected to play this much this year for the Pelicans team after he got drafted. They don't add a center, and they've had all these injuries, and he's been somebody that is going to be limited offensively, and he has dropped 5 spots, and maybe Kelly Olynyk's going to play a little bit more throughout the rest of the year, but I do think Yves Missi is going to be a foundational big man for this Pelicans team. I really like him and Zion together in that front court athletically. I think they can maybe complement each other defensively as well. And the Pelicans, they've been the most injured team in the league this year. They traded away Brandon Ingram. The star point guard of this team, DeJounte Murray, is out for the year. So I think Yves Missi being around this range is really nice for his game. And I think you're going to really take advantage out of this rookie year, and you can work on the things in the offseason. And if it's Willie Green or if it's not, and I think they do have a good enough center going forward. Do I think Yves Missi is going to be a star, an all-star, an all-defensive big man in the league? Probably not. But for the 21st pick, this is incredible value for what he's performed this year. So they've only done, it looks like, how many spots? 8 spots, which, I don't know. Well, we can get more than that. Maybe top 15. So Tristan Da Silva dropped out of the rankings. He was previously number 7, okay. And then you have Ryan Dunn at number 8. He also just dropped out of the rankings. So honestly thought that was going to be a little bit longer. I think we can now maybe highlight this draft class guys that could have been in there. I mean, Reed Shepherd, not going to be in there this year. I don't know. Reed, it just hasn't had consistent playing time, and I think that's going to be a lot, like, it's going to be tough for him to find that rhythm. And I do wonder if he's a Rocket next year. I mean, maybe the Rockets, I don't know. I don't want to make any, like, reactionary takes about Reed Shepherd just based off a small sample size. I think Ron Holland has honestly done a little bit that has not shown up in the box score. I think he's a good help defender. I mean, the athleticism is still like it wows you. And I know he's not like a Sarr Thompson or a Men Thompson type athleticism, but he is still one of the more athletic players from this draft class. But I'm fine with him not really in that top 8. I mean, Tijan Salon, I don't know. We're not going to talk about Tijan Salon just yet, just based off the sample size this year. I think Donovan Clingan could have been there in the top 8. Like, I'd still rather have Clingan than Missi, and I still think I'd rather have him than Kel'el Ware long term, but Kel'el Ware has definitely been more impactful in his rookie year. Rob Dillingham has been getting more playing time as of late, which is great to see because he didn't play a lot to start off the year. I mean, they've had their injuries to DiVincenzo and Randall and some of the other guys, and I don't want to watch Joe Ingles anymore. I don't. And I know Jalen Clark got hurt, so yeah, I would like to see Rob Dillingham, and maybe he finishes top 10 in the rookie rankings at the end of the year. Cody Williams has had his up and downs for sure. The shot selection has not been great, and it's been tough for him to finish at the rim. Hopefully he can have like a strong second half like we've seen from Jazz rookies in the past. And I think like Isaiah Collier, or I shouldn't go out of order here, but yeah, I want to talk about Isaiah Collier. I still don't know how Isaiah Collier fell all the way to 29. Like, I can't believe the Knicks didn't take him at 25. I'm a Knicks fan. I wish they did that. I mean, I guess I'll give Washington a pass because maybe they didn't want to have Collier and Bub Carrington, but still, Carrington over Keyshawn George. Carrington maybe, I guess for Minnesota, they weren't going to take, Collier over Keyshawn George. Minnesota wasn't going to take maybe Collier and Dillingham, so I'll give them a pass. But yeah, I just think like Milwaukee couldn't use an Isaiah Collier. They took AJ Johnson. He was immediately traded. Cleveland, I don't know, like they need another wing, but maybe Toronto. They could have used the Collier as well. The Lakers probably weren't going to do that. And they did a good job drafting Dalton Connect. So maybe I would say there's like 3 or 4 guys that Collier could have gone over so far in these, in like a redraft, but it's so early for a redraft. But yeah, I guess like top 8, like Topic hasn't played yet. Matas was in there. Bub, inefficiencies this year, but hey, he's a rookie guard, and I think he's shown plenty of flashes, and I'm kind of surprised he wasn't there in the top 8. Like, I thought he could have at least had a little bit more say over Tristan Da Silva, who I think has been good this year for somebody that was the 18th overall pick. Makes me feel a little bit less optimistic. Like, he's 23. I mean, compared to Bub, who Bub is 19. Like, how good do you think Bub is going to be in 4 years? Because that's how old Tristan Da Silva is right now. So that's the way you got to think about some things when you're talking about these rookies and their long-term effect. Jacoby Walter has had good games this year. He's still incredibly young, and I think Raw is a prospect. Like, Tyson had that one game, but hasn't been really too involved. I mean, they are the best team in the Eastern Conference and second best team record-wise in the NBA. Missi was in there. Holmes, AJ Johnson, Keyshawn George, Pacomi Dadiet, a lot of raw prospects here. Dylan Jones, not really been that much of an impact player for the Thunder this year. Terrence Shannon Jr. been playing a little bit more as well because of the injuries, which is nice to see. He's really aggressive, and I like that. I would just like for his at-the-rim field goal percentage to end up a little bit better this year. Ryan Dunn, we're like, how did he fall to 28? I think he should have went a little bit higher. I don't know why the Knicks didn't take him at 25, but they took Pacomi Dadiet, who maybe they were hoping he wasn't going to come over, and maybe Pacomi is going to be really good in 4 or 5 years, but I don't know. Ryan Dunn could really help out this team defensively right now, even though he has his shot has definitely kind of regressed back to what we all expected it to be. Baylor Shireman kind of been not involved this year, and he's already 24 years old. And then I think there's some second-round picks that could have been in the conversation. AJ Mitchell would have been in there if he didn't end up getting hurt. I think Filipowski has been kind of nice for the Utah Jazz this year for somebody that was picked 32nd. Jonathan Mogbo and what he's done defensively, Jamal Shed and what he's done defensively as well over there in Toronto. And then Quinton Post maybe could have been somebody there that should have been in conversations. I think Quinton Post has been really good over the last few weeks and is shooting 40+% from 3. And I didn't really think he was going to be worth a second round pick out of BC, a little bit older. And I don't know if the shot was going to play. How is he going to be as a defender? But for someone that doesn't play a ton a night, or doesn't really have to. If he's getting 15 minutes a night, he's really good in this role. So, yeah, that was ESPN's rankings of just kind of this draft class so far. There hasn't been a lot of, like, really good rookies, and it's like, the funny that the top rookie this year is someone that's shooting 41% from the field, 27 from 3, 73 from the line. He's got a 50% true shooting percentage, but Castle does impact the game more than just the offensive shooting splits. I will say that for sure. I think Risacher, if I had a Rookie of the Year vote, I think I would give it to Risacher right now. Risacher in the month of February, 14 points, 4 rebounds, 63% true shooting. Like, he maybe got a little bit, like, he cooled off in December after a positive November. But the last 2 months, like, last 17 games have been very good for Risacher. And like I said when I was talking about him before, I don't think the defense is that far off from Stephon Castle. So, yeah, kind of just wanted to talk about the rookie draft class. Let me know what you agree with or disagree with about those rankings. Do you think there's somebody that should have been mentioned there in the top 8 that shouldn't have been in the top 8? And also let me know in the comments, who's your Rookie of the Year pick? Like, do you think it should be Stephon Castle? Do you think it should be Risacher? Do you think it could be Wells? Or do you think it could be Zach Edey, one of the Grizzlies guys? Let me know down below. Do you think it's going to be Isaiah Collier at the end of the year? I think we can have some variants and some cool, or a cool race towards the end of the year. So yeah, thank you guys all for watching and listening. If you're on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, appreciate a rating and review over there. And if you're watching on YouTube, appreciate you dropping a thumbs up. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. Hit that subscribe button if you're not already, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.